Hi, my name's Elaine Newman, or Ellie, and I'm the clinical specialist for dementia and delirium for the Royal Perth Bentley Group. And as part of that role, I also coordinate the Forget Me Not volunteers. The Forget Me Not volunteer team are a team of trained volunteers who provide meaningful engagement to patients whilst in hospital. They were created back in 2017 in response to some feedback that we'd had from some focus groups we conducted with previous patients who were living with dementia and their carers, but as well as some feedback we had heard from ward staff as well. We trialled a team for 3 months and the trial was very successful. So the team of 20 at that start has now grown to a team of 63, and we support wards including 7A, the acute medical unit, Ward 4 at Bentley. We're just about to start supporting Ward 5 at Bentley and Ward 5G as well. So the Forget Me Not role is actually quite varied. They provide meaningful support in a way in which a family member might do if they aren't able to be with the patient themselves. So they will provide meaningful engagement, and that can take its shape in terms of meaningful conversation. They may assist with eating and drinking when it's safe to do so. They may support movement and engagement and getting patients up onto their feet when it's safe to do so, have some reminiscence therapy. They might do some cognitively stimulating exercises with them as well. So they're actually referred patients from the care team on the ward. They create a personal profile in collaboration with the patient and or their next of kin to really provide person-centred support and care whilst the patient's in hospital. The team really grew in terms of its recognition quite slowly. We actually had some very sound objective outcomes from the pilot trial that we conducted. We had very positive feedback from the patients that we supported. We saw an increase in compliments of the ward that the service was operating on, a reduction in complaints as well. But we also saw that the volunteers themselves were really happy in their role and were spreading the word, and we were getting more and more expressions of interests to apply for the role. We also saw a reduction in falls on the ward, on 7A in particular, recognising that that would be a multifactorial component, but we certainly contributed to that. The team is also well recognised within the organisation. People were curious, well, who are the Forget Me Nots? Who are these people in bright yellow t-shirts? And so we actually collaborated with the communications team. We got stories out there, good news stories. We celebrated some of the events that the volunteers were experiencing as well. And we were really able to showcase what the volunteers, who they were and what they were contributing as well. We're actually the first hospital in metropolitan WA that has a team of trained volunteers supporting some of our most vulnerable patients. The programme itself was created by a lady in New South Wales, and we sought permission from herself and the Agency of Clinical Innovation to model that programme and bring it to Perth. And so we're quite innovative in that way, and as a result of its success, we've actually had a lot of the other hospitals asking how can we make this happen in their space. I think the strength is the team. The strength is in its collaboration within the team members themselves, within the Forget Me Not team, but how they communicate and connect with the care teams on the ward, which then ultimately has a really positive impact on the patients that they're supporting and their loved ones as part of that as well. Excellence to me means delivering what matters most to people that are sometimes at the most vulnerable stages of their life, and doing that consistently in a structured way, but in a person-centred way as well. Came in one morning, early one morning, and I'd had an email from one of the younger members of the team. Our youngest is 19 and our eldest is 77. She said that she'd had the most amazing shift at Bentley the day before, the evening before, where she'd met a gentleman who had been referred to the programme who was experiencing some hypoactive delirium. So he was quite withdrawn, he wasn't really eating or drinking. The Forget Me Not volunteer went to meet him, and he turned out that he really enjoyed Clint Eastwood, and he was his favourite actor. And so the Forget Me Not volunteer sort of thought about it, she said, and she went to get her laptop out of her bag because she'd just been to university, and she'd had Netflix on the laptop. And she asked the gentleman, what's your favourite film? And he said Dirty Harry, and she'd never even heard of it. She hadn't even heard of Clint Eastwood. So she's there and she's downloaded Dirty Harry, and they're watching the movie together. His eyes are lighting up, dinner arrives, He hasn't been eating dinner normally, but he ate it whilst watching Dirty Harry. They had a cup of tea together, they had some giggles together, and it really woke him up, so to speak. So the Forget Me Not volunteer had said that was a particularly meaningful shift to her. He'd had a good meal, he'd had some good engagement that meant something to him, and she learnt who Clint Eastwood was.